this is what Hitler is saying that this is what Hitler is saying that the true Jews are, right? And this is what he's saying the bastard is. You understand?
Right.
You gotta get this. You gotta listen. This is not a fake book. This is not.
Actually, if you
listen once again, they're bringing out this information. What?
The where it says Jude is ein.
Go ahead.
Right. That Jude is ein. That means this is not a Jew.
Right.
He has the Oriental right here, and he said Jude is ein. That means this is a Jew.
Right.
And this is a dark-skinned brother right here.
Right.
With a turban on here. When he's got them, he's got the nigger, he calls them in his language.
Put it towards the camera.
Which would be the same as nigger or niger.
Right.
All right, in the middle right here, and he's got all these up here, and then he even he confused the Hamites with us. That's why Zondervan came back and showed that they are not the Negroes.
Right.
But right here he said, I'm sorry, on this side of the page he says these are Jews. Then he says this man, all right. This Khazar right here, yes. When you read about the Khazar Empire in the 13th tribe, Arthur Kessler, he calls them bastards.
Right. Hitler knew that the Jews that called themselves Jews, they were not the true Jews. Okay, that they were, you know, this is funny because it looks like one of the brothers from Albuquerque.
Right.
But
the caption tells you what he's showing us right under that picture.
And when it says Orient, it's talking about Asia Minor.
Right.
That's what it's talking about.
But I mean, on the top left corner right there, that picture.
Right.
It tells what he's actually showing them.
Right. It says here, Goebbels and Hitler personally appraised a new German movie when the Fuhrer complained that film exposing the Nazi line were too scares. Wait, no, that's not it. Oh, right. It says Goebbels rushed a pair of anti-Semitic pictures in production. It says in one segment of the Nazi instrumental film, right, the generic heritage of the Jew is purportedly traced to Oriental. It's small. It says traced to the Oriental, and then it says Negro.
Right. Yeah.
So it says in one of the segments of the Nazis' instrumental film, right, the generic heritage of the Jew is purportedly traced to the Oriental Negro near Asia. That's why they have here the Orient.
Right.
Because you're talking about Asia Minor.
Right.
And this is what he studied. This is why he killed a lot of those so-called Jews, because he said, if you want to be black, fine. We're going to make you black, and we're going to burn your ass up.
Right.
And that's what they did. We got one caller. We got 5 minutes, so it has to be quick. Go ahead. Take the caller. Caller, you're on the air. You got a question or a comment? It has to be quick.
Yeah, I have a question. I understand that the original Hebrews are African, or black. But my question is, now the Africans said the black Americans are not Africans.
Right.
How do you reconcile that with the fact that, you know, most of the black Americans came from like West Africa, Ghana, and places like that? So what are you saying in terms of that fact?
I'm gonna give you.
We're gonna answer that too, bro. We're gonna answer your question, okay?
Okay.
All right. So I mean, if you want any info, you can call us, you can text us, but we're gonna answer that real quick. All right, brother?
Okay. Thanks.
All right, shalom. Go ahead.
All right, so just a quick rundown, and we're going to read an excerpt out of this book called From Babylon to Timbuktu. It's by Rudolph R. Windsor. All right, and you can get this for $10 at your local bookstores, or you probably have to order them. But in 70 A.D., Titus, the Roman general, under the orders of his father Vespasian, came in and conquered Jerusalem. Now, the 2.5 tribes that were there, if you can give me that sign real quick, the Judah, Benjamin, and the half tribe of Levi,
right.
Those 2.5 nations fled down into the interiors of Africa, fleeing from Roman persecution and slavery. Some of them were sold back up into Europe, and they're known as the Moors, and tribes like that, or the Iberians.
Right, and that's where you got people like Mozart, Beethoven, Socrates,
right.
King James.
Yeah.
Those were black people.
Right.
They're finding out Mozart, Beethoven, Socrates.
Exactly.
These were black people.
Right. To this day in England, they got this, it's called a Moorish dance or something like that, and it's where a bunch of white people put blackface on and they do a dance that we made popular while we ruled Europe.
Right.
But some of them were sold back up into Europe, and the bulk of them were sold by the Africans and Arabs to the so-called white man.
Right. Remember, I'm going to repeat it again. 70 A.D.
Right.
Yeah, we ran.
Right, and we were at constant war with those Africans.
Right, because anybody can read about this in history, but it ain't going to say, oh, the Jews were black. This is historical.
Right.
This is historical, and we're going to read it, but they're not going to say, oh, yeah, those were black Jews.
Right.
They're not going to say that until you have this book here, which was a brother. He also brought out a lot of information in there. But once again, he thinks that they're...
He still thinks that it was white
Ethiopians
blended with that.
Yeah, exactly. So read it though.
Babylon to Timbuktu, page 84 in the middle. It says, in the year 65 BC, the Roman armies under General Pompey conquered Jerusalem.
Right, so 65 years before Christ was even born, or before the Common Era, the Roman armies had already captured Jerusalem. Okay, go ahead.
And in 70 AD, General Vespasian and his son...
So 70 years after Christ died.
Right.
All right, so at 65 BC, they captured Jerusalem.
Right.
But 70 years after Christ died, they finally laid the hammer down. And they said, we're going to destroy Jerusalem.
Right.
So Titus and his son, Titus was a Roman general at the time. Read.
Titus put an end to the Jewish state with great slaughter. During the period of the military governors of Palestine, many outrages and atrocities were committed against the residue of the people.
Right, and he brings up Palestine because those are what you know as your Arabs, your PLOs, stuff like that. They were selling us. So by the time you had military governors over Palestine, those people were selling the so-called Jew, or the actual real Jews, into slavery. But read on.
From the period of Pompey to Julius, it had been estimated that over 1 million Jews fled into Africa.
Right, they fled where?
Into Africa.
Why would the Jews flee into Africa if they were bright white like these pictures that they show you? They fled into Africa because that's where you would blend in. If me being as dark as I am, I'm not running into the woodlands when the cops come chase me for killing 2 of them or something. I'm going into 3rd Ward. I'm going into 5th Ward. I'm not going into the woodlands or to what you call the
to blend in.
Yeah, I'm going to where I blend in. So they ran down into Africa. Read on.
Fleeing from Roman persecution and slavery, the slave markets were full of black Jewish slaves.
Were full of what?
Black Jewish slaves.
Right. So the slave markets at the time that the Africans and Arabs had erected were full of black Jew slaves.
Yeah.
All right. These are the real Jews being put in slavery by the Africans and Arabs off the west coast of Africa, Sierra Leone, Ghana, what you know as the Gold Coast or the Ivory Coast.
So we were there. And not only that, the thing is that the Most High said we would be scattered amongst all nations.
Right.
So, how did our people come from there? First of all, during that time, the Africans and the Arabs rounded us up and sold us to the so-called white man.
Right.
So, once again, this is book called From Babylon to Timbuktu. Isn't there another book called Black... I thought there was another book we had, too.
A few of them. We had
Tropical Africa.
Tropical Africa.
Right.
Okay, once again, this is...
and that's another Time Life book.
Right.
Tropical Africa.
Brothers and sisters, we thank y'all for tuning in, and we thank y'all for tuning in our show. We'll be here next week. We have local classes. We welcome you, and we'd like to say shalom. Shalom.